Good evening, Googlers from GEG Amman and also Googlers worldwide, GEG UK and global. My name is Georgina Dean, and I am the leader of GEG Amman. And I'm joined today by the lovely Wendy Peskett. Hi, Wendy.
Hi.
Wendy, we're so excited to have you here today. And we're talking all about wellness. So just before we dive in, we'd love to encourage our viewers today to please go ahead and share with us your name and where you're joining us from around the world. Feel free to drop your Twitter handle so that we can connect with everybody globally. That would be amazing. Good evening to Ayla. I think Alia is joining from Lebanon, I think. We'll know soon. And also good morning. I think it is to Shannon who's joining from America. And we are excited to have you here today. So just a little bit of background about Tip Tuesdays. This is the second season to welcome back the new academic school year. And normally, previously in season 1, it was Tip Tuesdays, all about tech Tip Tuesdays. So we had different guests. Sometimes I did the show solo. Sometimes there were other members from GEG Amman, and we basically shared as much as possible that we could to support educators during the COVID closures. With ed tech integration and engaged learning opportunities for the classroom. So it was really heavily focused on, technical how-tos and tips to help you with that. So this season, we are really excited to do a twist, I guess you could say, a community twist. And so starting today, we're going to do Tip Tuesday together, where there's a big focus on community. So we're taking a look at how we can empathize more with people in the back to school situation, as everybody's situation is going to be different. And also, we are going to take a look at a different focus each week about how we can support working parents, for example, teachers in different countries, for example. So it's going to be a little bit of a different focus. So today is all about wellness and well-being. So every second Tuesday will be the regular Techie Tip Tuesday, which will be next week. And basically every week there will be a Tip Tuesday of some kind, and we'll just rotate bi-weekly every Tuesday at 6 p.m. GMT +3. So I'm really excited to get this started with my superstar friend, Wendy Peskett. Wendy I'm going to let her talk, but I really need to go all out because Wendy never does, and she deserves a massive shout out. So Wendy is a certified Google trainer, and she's also a certified Google innovator, and she's also on her way to becoming an ISTE certified trainer. And I'm sure she's got like 100 million other certifications for the amazing work she does. So we'll let her introduce herself. But it is a really honor today to welcome her to GEG Amman, all the way from England in the UK, joining us from GEG UK. So Wendy, without further ado, I will let you introduce yourself so that everyone can know a bit more about you, and then we'll dive into some well-being.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me, especially being the first on. That means such a lot. Yeah, I'm Wendy Peskett, and as Georgina said, I'm an innovator and trainer, Google certified, and really looking forward to becoming an ISTE trainer. Just got to get that last bit of the portfolio done to do that. But today is really all about wellness, and it's my other passion project, really, that we're going to talk about today, which was my Google Innovator project, which was FeelBetterEDU.
That is so amazing. We were just talking about passion projects the other week, all on Twitter and social media, and about how it's going to be such an amazing thing to give students a chance to really dig into something that they're really passionate about. So this is really exciting that this Feel Better EDU project was your passion project, Wendy, and it's a great starter, actually. Do you, is there a particular thing that kind of inspired that start to your passion project, or have you always been into well-being?
I think there was a start date to it, although I've obviously always been empathetic for people that have been struggling, and I've always sort of tried to help people that I could see really needed it the most. Um, I've always been sort of free with my time for people that needed a bit of support in my college. But I was really working in a large London college, and at that time I was also doing some training across different organisations, and I was seeing a pattern, and it wasn't a secret. We all knew it was there, but there was a lack of funding, lack of leadership communication sometimes, and increased workload of staff. And this lack of funding and all these other things were sort of causing teachers to suffer. And I was seeing that. And because I'd worked in one place for a long time, I could remember what it used to be like to work there, and I could see the change, not just the change in the building being run down, but the change in the staff and the staff attitude. And I was seeing a real lack of morale through colleagues that I knew were just passionate about teaching. I was seeing them increasingly becoming more fatigued, more stressed. Their emotional state was heightened a lot of the time. And then I started to see them missing days from work. And in general, just walking around the building, I was seeing people look sad and disengaged, and it was heartbreaking. So I started to look at talking to some of these staff to find out what it was. And as a coach and mentor in technology anyway, and learning technology, I often had a chance to sit one-to-one with people. And so I'd sort of started to branch out. And I think because people knew me, and they knew me that I was there for a long time, and I think I was a trusted member of staff, they would sometimes open up and say, you know, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling stressed, I'm having this issue at home. So I was hearing a lot of things that maybe somebody that was newer in the post wouldn't hear or wouldn't be empathetic about. So I wanted to do something to help those staff. That's really where it started from. And then I started to look at the surveys that were going on, and it was saying something like 200,000 teaching staff were thinking of leaving the profession. That was last year, or it might have been the year before now, because we've lost 6 months. And over 50% were saying that their work-life balance was drastically worsened, over the last couple of years. So there's a pattern that's not just in one college, that's universal at the moment, I think. And we really need to do something to address that. And this was something that I could do from my point in my organisation, and I'm no longer in that organisation, but from the point I'm at as a trainer now, I'm, not at the top of the food chain. I'm sort of just a trainer. That's how I see myself. So I can't change the world. But I can change a little bit. And if I can help a few people make a few little changes that helps them, then I think I've done an okay job. That's where I see myself on this project.
Oh, Wendy, I just can't imagine you just said I'm only just a trainer, because you are so much more than that. And we are so grateful to have you in our community. And there are so many people in GEG UK and globally that are grateful for your support as well. So we are so grateful to have you here. And absolutely, what a story, right, guys? You had a lot of love in the chat. Shannon was saying that you had a wonderful heart. And she's also saying here that teaching is hard. And she says she's had created a space to promote positive mental and physical health and wellness. Wendy, the fact that you were able to draw on what your colleagues were struggling with at your school to start this project just shows how big your heart is. And I think you need to, celebrate that a lot more, Wendy, because you really have a massive heart of gold. So big shout out to you. And that's a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful sentiment as to where your passion project started. And so did this get started then a little bit before you joined the Google Innovator Academy, or you really were able to dive into this fully during the Innovator Academy?
So the thoughts started before. I didn't know how I was going to do it, and that was how I went to the academy, not knowing the answer to the problem. But I was having the thoughts before, and I applied on a wellness for the Google Innovator application on a wellness theme, but it was on a slightly different theme. And then as I was working through another course, I was doing the advanced teacher status course, and that was meaning I was mentoring a couple of teachers, and that's when I managed to get close to them and talk a lot to them about how they were feeling in general, not just about their teaching. So the ideas were sparking then. And then when I applied for the Innovator Academy and was accepted, there was lots of things going on within the organisation, and things just changed. And as a lot of innovative projects do, that it just morphed really, and it kept changing. I really wasn't certain that I was going to have anything to show at the end of it. And I wanted it to be more than a website. I wanted to do some face-to-face training and some other things as well. But I had to be realistic in what I could actually do. So the website is there as a starting point. Then I'll tweet out and just remind people of things gradually. And then hopefully I can do some training around those aspects. But I've got to be careful because I'm not a wellness expert. I'm coming to this from a place of caring and wanting to support people, but not wanting people to think that I'm a wellness expert. I just want to share things that I've seen work. That's where I'm coming from. So I've got to be really careful about how I approach that and sort of advertise it really.
I think that you just did a great job just saying, that that's the situation. But the fact that you are able to pull on what you're passionate about, what you're experiencing and the real, and then pull in things that you see could help your community and pull on other things that others feel could help their community and curate it into a single place is just phenomenal. And I know, Wendy, that you've already shared this to many communities and they are benefiting from your passion project, I guess we'll say. So yeah, absolutely an awesome thing. Let's dive in, shall we, Wendy? And you can just show everybody, if that's okay, what you have created. And we will definitely share that out in the YouTube chat as well. So I'll pull in your screen. There we go. All right, the floor is yours, Wendy.
Excellent. So I'll just take it to the homepage first and just explain a little bit about it. It's a really simple website. I haven't done any great graphic design or anything. It's just a collation of ideas and a simple Google site at the moment. And, no doubt it will change over time. But I just wanted to get something out because I was aware while I was doing this while we were in lockdown, there was a need for this. But I also wanted to be careful about putting things out there that were not advertising social distancing and all the rules that were going on. So I struggled to get this going at first because I didn't want to put anything out there that was going against what we should be doing. So there's a lot of caveats within things saying, don't forget about like COVID, don't forget about social distancing, and hopefully that will change over time too. But the front page really just tells you, gives you access to the tweets because the Twitter account is linked there, and then it tells you a little bit about what the site's about. And really, it started to be about wellness, but also about how negative most of the posts that we see in the adverts we see about technology in our lives. It's always quite negative, or don't use social media too much. It makes you depressed. Don't do this. Come off your phone. Limit your screen time. And although I agree with some of that stuff, I wanted to also celebrate the fact that technology, we can do so much to help us learn, communicate, be creative, eat well, make time for ourselves and value ourselves and others. And that's really where this came from. So this site is really still under development, as it says here. And I also want to be clear that all the ideas that I've put in on here, they're not brand new. A lot of them are quite old, but there seem to be things that, I've seen over a number of years in colleges that we used to do and schools. But maybe some of the staff that are coming in now have forgotten them or they've never seen them. They might be new to this next generation of teachers and support staff in colleges. And I also started to draw on things that bigger organisations do, like the Apples and the Googles and the Microsofts. They've got these big wellness budgets where they can do lots for their staff. But you've got to look at being realistic. We work in small places like schools and colleges. We have a much smaller budget, sometimes no budget at all. So really, I wanted to try and see if we could slim down some of those things so they were similar to what the large corporations have, but obviously not the same. So the way I organised that was this Find a Wellness activity section at the top here. And when you click on it, it just takes you to a searchable, filterable set of activities that you can do. And it's at the moment, it's being powered by Awesome Table there. So that's what I've used to develop this site. And there's about 43 things on this at the moment, but I've got a lot more to add. I just need to sit down and add a lot more. And then it's looking at these particular wellness categories. So it's being active, being more creative, connecting, eat well, learn something new, make time for me, and value yourself and others. So they're the categories we want to look at. And then the way I thought of searching it, which was suggested to me by my mentor, Ben, was saying, I'd like to, try and make it feel more like a discussion. So people come here and they say, I'd like an idea for my organization. So if you click on I'd like an idea for my organization, that takes you to the biggest section of this, which is 23 of them. And you've got these little cards which finally just give you a snippet of what it's about. So this Pass the Kindness one, Pass the Kindness on one, I really like. And each one has got its own website, which is hidden on the website itself. The page is hidden. You can only get to it from the searchable bit there. But it will give you a very brief thing about what it is. And then it will tell you how it works, and there'll be more to add to this. So this Passing the Kindness on, it's looking at things that you could do about bringing an office treat in for a different team, leaving a note or leaving a chocolate bar, a mug, a small gift on a colleague's desk. Or you could do something that's completely free. I heard one school simply got up really early in the morning, this member of staff, and went into their colleague's classroom and wrote a lovely thank you message on the whiteboard, so that not only the teacher saw it when they came in, but the whole class. And it was a thank you for something they'd done to help this other teacher. And it's all things like that that can be completely free, but it helps you to pass this kindness on. And then what people are doing is, when I'm seeing great things on Twitter, people are adding me in, connecting me to these other people. And I'm contacting people saying, look, you showed an example of something that's on my website. Would you mind if I anonymize it, or would you allow me to use your photograph and put a link to your school or you on there? And people are starting to do that for me, because I don't have all these images to make the site look better, but I want to show real examples. So I want this not to be about me and what I do, but about us and what we do. So the more people that actually send me things through, the more we can celebrate what other people are doing, not only in this country, but all the countries that are looking at this website. And I think there's about 30 countries that have looked at the website so far. So going back to the Find a Wellness activity, I'll just show you a few of the ones that I think are quite nice. The end of day routine, that's one that's important for us all at the moment. So it's really about making sure we've got this good work-life balance, especially if we're still working remotely, where it's really easy to be sucked into working all the time because your desk is 2 foot away from your sofa. So we really want to make sure that we change that mindset really and switch off sometimes. So that just works by things like adding no new tasks at the last sort of 20 minutes of the day, or you could use that last bit of the day to send some quick emails or create a to-do list for the next day. Checking your calendar to make sure you can just refine your calendar for the next morning, and then switching off some notifications so that you're not tempted to dip into your work during family times. So it's things like that that I really want to promote. So making us a little bit more organized. That could be something that would work well. And then another
It's
one.
a great point, Wendy.
Sorry,
And we had a comment in the chat from Ayla saying that she was organized with remote teaching, and then it became a bit chaotic when they went online for remote learning. So I think this is going to be a really great tool to help people who were struggling and who possibly could continue to struggle if they're in that learning situation again.
Absolutely. I think that's a really important point. I'll show you one simple one. These are all things that you can do really inexpensively, but share and share alike really was something that I sort of thought about. There's times when I've taken stuff into work and just left them on colleagues' desks because I've been given something and I've been given too much of it. So I started to think about that a little bit more. And I thought about, what about this time of year when you're growing things from seeds and you end up with too many tomato plants, or you've got an allotment maybe and you've got a glut of tomatoes, or you've got some unused toiletries because you got 10 lots for Christmas, or you make jam and chutney. And it could be that you end up with a lot of different things that you could just have a little table at work in a dedicated little space at work, a windowsill, or a table in the staff room that just has a nice notice on it saying something like, if you need a pick me up today, take something off this table. And anyone that's got any extras of things that they don't want, they could just put on that table. And I saw one school did that. The leadership team actually started it off with a table full of donuts. So as the staff came in on their first day, they could have a treat with lots of little sayings about donuts on them. So I was just trying to think of things that would be really simple and really inexpensive. And okay, you may have paid for the jam jars or something to make the jam or that, but sometimes it will be you giving, and that should make you feel good. And sometimes it will be you receiving, and it will be on a day when you really need that little pick me up. So they're the sorts of things I've been thinking about more. And then the other sorts of stuff I started to sort of think about was the more technical things, where we might want to do things like help reducing stress. So I'd like help reducing stress. So I've added some really simple ones on here, like Headspace, My Possible Self app, and Happify. And these are all things where you can go to track your mood, reduce stress, reduce low mood and anxiety. And whenever there is an app attached to it, you'll just get a little install button that you can go and install that onto your device. You quickly get access to it with the little bit of information about how it works and some information about it. So I'm hoping that people will just find those little things useful. Yeah, I mean, are there any questions?
I couldn't agree more, Wendy.
Yeah.
Actually, we did have a question from Shannon. I think we have a little bit of delay. Sorry there, Wendy. But yeah, Shannon was asking here, have you had individuals reach out to ask about starting a wellness program, but ideas about how you might do it virtually?
I've not had anyone reaching out about that yet. I've had a few people saying they'd like to link it into their school website so that staff can actually use it, which that is great. That's what I was really hoping out of it. But some of these things do have a virtual feel to them. So something like the Best Blooming Office, really simply, it's talking about plants in the office, which obviously is something that is your physical space in your office. But if your office is at home and you've got a work office or you've got a table, it's just about starting up a competition. I was thinking of actually doing this remotely. I don't know if I've got a big enough following to make it work, but really I was thinking about we could do a competition like this and just say, like, pick a date and say everyone send in some pictures of their decorated office with all the flowers and plants in it, and I'll choose a winner, and maybe I can drum up a prize from somewhere. But it was just those sorts of ideas where it could be done in an organization where you say, right, the HR team is going to go against the English team, who's going to go against the IT team, but you could actually do this across different organizations as well, and it would work just as well, because where the technology comes in here is just social media and your ways of connecting. So it's not always about using a new technology, but just using the technology that you've got in a way that you might be able to do something you haven't thought of before. So that's really where these sorts of things come from. But I think
brilliant.
A lot of these things are adaptive. They can be used both online or not, really.
You have a lot of love in the chat, Wendy. Shannon says she's going to run to that section of your website. And she also is really excited about the e-gift cards to send, or badges. But what they're really enjoying in the chat is the no cost options. And I have to agree, especially, people are spending so much money now anyway, and because of the economy, right? So the prices are different everywhere. And so the great thing is us being able to find options that can really reach out and make others feel better, as well as ourselves, that are cost-free. So I really love that, Wendy.
Absolutely. So there's one here that's I'd like help taking breaks. And this is something I've been talking to a lot of teachers about. I saw someone tweet just before I came on here that they were doing some training with somebody and they got so excited that they forgot to let them go for their lunch. And we've got to be really mindful that we don't do things like that. We've got to make sure teachers do take their lunch breaks and do get up off their chair and go out and do something. So these are a couple of things. You've got Unlock Clock here, which is from Google, or Mindful Break, or Healthy Browsing. And there's more of these. I've only put 3 examples on. I've got plenty more that I could add, but these are all things that are free to remind you to get up and stretch. Or there's this one, this Healthy Browsing, actually reminds you to blink. It comes up with a little pop-up and tells you to blink or stare at the wall away from your screen, and you can set it to come up every 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And I love the fact that these things are free and we could use them to improve our posture, our well-being, and just our physical being as well, really. It's not just all about, I think the trouble is sometimes when people think of well-being, they just think about their mental well-being, but actually it's about your physical being as well. And we've got to really sort of engage in that and help each other. And I think we need to remind each other to stop sometimes and not celebrate that person that's always on the go. I know there are different people.
Absolutely.
I know there are different people types, and I think it really hit me over the lockdown, because I actually went quite quiet during lockdown. I did stuff. I didn't do a lot of stuff that was very public, but I did a lot of stuff that was behind the scenes. But actually, I felt that I didn't want to connect too much. I was quite happy taking that time for me, and that was really unusual for me. And I can't be the only person that felt like that. Yeah, I saw other people that were out there full on all the time, and that's also good. But what we've got to do is not try and put everyone into that same pigeonhole, because being on the go for some was their coping mechanism, and actually retreating a little bit was somebody else's coping mechanism for those things. And I think I've tried to put a mix of different ones on there, so hopefully that comes across.
I definitely think it came across, Wendy. Shannon says, not celebrate the person that is always on the go. Profound. That little mind-blown emoji.
We do want to celebrate that person, because that's their way of being. But just because you take a step back and you take that time for yourself, not seeing that person as not being equal. I think that's what I mean by that. I don't want to not celebrate that person, because that's their way of doing it. But you've got to also celebrate that person that says no sometimes, and is able to take that step back for themselves. So taking this sort of site a little bit further, I don't want to bore you all with going through all of them. They're there for you to look at, but there's a little bit at the bottom on the home page which gives you a link back to just a form. So if you spot anything that maybe you don't agree with, tell me. If you've got an example from your organisation, I'd love to see some pictures or a little write-up about it so we can add it. And what I would love to see is all these pages interspersed with organizations from all over the world. That's what I'm hoping, because at the moment it feels a bit Eurocentric to me. I want to get some things in from other cultures as well, so I can only do that if the project gets shared, and then hopefully people will start to trust it and think, well, I can add something there. We did this really well. So if you spot anything and I haven't noticed it, please tag me in, and I'll always contact people that are tweeting out good ideas, and I'll ask them. And then the last two bits on there really are the events, which I'll try to keep up to date. So did you know that in the UK, from the 9th to the 15th of September, it's all about blood pressure testing. So I'll be tweeting out about that, because it might be that somebody knows somebody that can take blood pressure readings, and you might organise something in your staff room one lunchtime so that it could be part of that week. And there's a whole load of links back to the NHS site there that will tell you how you can get involved. And then on the 10th of September, you've got World Suicide Prevention Day, which obviously a biggie. So people can go and look at what actions they could do there, and what they could be tweeting out, and how they could support staff in their organisation. So there's a whole load of different things. There's more on the website itself, on the NHS website. I've just picked out the ones that I think would be possible to do within an organisation like a college or a school. So I've sort of reduced it down a little bit. So there's a few there. And then the last bit really...
So many great options.
Thank you. And then the last bit really is just about asking for help. So I've just put some links to some different websites like Young Minds and the gov.uk and the Samaritans and Mental Health Foundation, just so people, if they don't know where to go, if they are struggling, there's a few links there. There's obviously a lot more I could add to this, but I've put a few there, which I think are the main ones at the moment. And I'm hoping that will just give people what they need for now. Yeah, I think that's it really. I think I've sort of taken you through what I wanted to take you through and what I think is important there. And really, it's just about now getting this shared out as widely as I can get it shared.
Wendy, wow. Just wow, the amount of incredible, inspiring resources there for teachers to be able to use. Actually, any member of the education community actually can grab that up, use it. It's easy, it's free, and there's so many different things like digital ones, non-digital ones. So get out, walk, exercise as well, and just general take care of yourself, because I'm not going to remember the expression because, of course, I'm live, but it's that whole expression of the cup half full and full. And someone even talked to me about it overfilling, right? And how can we continue to give if we don't continue to fill up our own cup? So, Wendy, wow, what an amazing site. And we'd like to share that out. Wendy, I didn't actually have the site open, but if you have the link, I'll pop that up on the YouTube channel for everybody. And while Wendy's getting that link, if anybody has any final questions to ask this wonderful human being, then please let us know while she's with us for the last few minutes. That's awesome. And we will definitely, there is the link. So here it comes, and there we go. So Wendy, I really loved also what you said about sharing, because sharing is caring. That's one of also my favorite hashtags. And so for others to be able to share with you and add to your website, I agree, allow others to connect with different sorts of well-being all around the world as well, because as you said, it'll be maybe different according to different cultures. And so the more people can share, it's going to as well together. So please, please, please take a look at Wendy's Feel Better EDU Passion Project. Share some ideas that are working well with you in your communities, and feel free to also share everything that's available on this amazing website with your education communities to support them with back to school. And we have a lot of thank yous in the chat, Wendy. And so yeah, everybody's really excited. And so thank you so much for sharing that. And Wendy, how can people connect with you besides your website if they have any questions? Or I know you have a Twitter, so if you'd like to follow Wendy on Twitter.
So I've got 2 Twitter accounts. I've got the @FeelBetterEDU account, which you should see under my name here, just under here. And then I've got just Wendy Peskett, so @Wendy Peskett. So you can follow me on either of those. And they've got links to different places where you can connect with me as well within there. And I just really wanted to sort of finish it off by just saying, we've got so many things in our way at the moment that are stopping us, from doing what we need to do to make ourselves feel okay. And we've got to do that. It's not a case of, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. We must make ourselves feel okay. And that will be different for everybody. For some people, it will be about just taking some time out for themselves. For some people, it'll be just taking some time out to do something different, or connecting with a new group of people. But you really do have to do that, because if you can't do that, you can't help your students fully. You just can't. You won't have enough energy to keep going.
What a powerful message to end on, Wendy. Wow. Again, if we want to continue giving to our communities, we also have to take care of ourselves. Wendy, I'd like to take this last moment to thank you so much for your time. I know you're really busy supporting your communities and obviously giving to this amazing passion project as well. So thank you for joining us on GEG Amman. And I definitely encourage everybody to connect with Wendy and connect with Feel Better EDU. And good evening to Tamina, also joining us this evening from GEG Amman, and shouting out to Wendy. And yeah, please join us next Tuesday also for Techie Tip Tuesday, and we're going to be sharing some amazing tools for back to school next Tuesday, and following with another Tip Tuesday together the following Tuesday after that. So we'll just rotate them back and forth. So thank you so much to all of our viewers who joined us today from around the world, and we are looking forward to following also Feel Better EDU and watching as all of you share your wonderful experiences with Wendy and Feel Better EDU and all of us globally. So thank you to all the educators who joined and the education community. We appreciate you, and we're wishing you all a wonderful and well back to school. So for myself at GEG Amman, thank you very much. And Wendy, did you want to give a final shout out?
Thank you, guys. Just come and follow me on FeelBetterEDU, and let's just keep talking, and that will help. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Thanks again, Wendy.